Welcome to Time Capsule, where we delve into fascinating tales from the past. Today, we journey back to the intriguing world of ancient Egypt, where hygiene practices may not have been as pristine as one might hope. In fact, if I had a time machine, I must admit I wouldn't stay there for too long. So, let's embark on this adventure and uncover the peculiarities of hygiene in ancient Egypt. Bugs everywhere. In the fascinating world of ancient Egypt, where the revered dung beetle, known as the scarab, held a special place, the people were plagued by less admirable insects like lice. Lice were so prevalent and troublesome among the Egyptians that even the Holy Bible mentions the infamous plague of lice as an act of God in Egypt. Desperate to evict these pesky bugs from their bodies and prevent them from feasting on their blood, the Egyptians resorted to drastic measures. Imagine the scene. People armed with knives, blades, and tweezers, meticulously removing every trace of hair from their bodies to avoid lice infestation. However, braving the scorching heat of the Sahara Desert with an uncovered head was not a wise option. The resourceful Egyptians devised a clever solution: perfumed wigs. Yes, those same perfumed wigs that would later become fashionable among European nobility were used to conceal ailments like syphilis. The Europeans and their fashion trends. During the Second Intermediate period of Egypt, which saw the Hyksos taking over the ruling power, the wig game underwent a revolution. This was due to the introduction of horses as a means of transportation, and with them came a new source of hair. Wig manufacturers now had access to cheaper and more durable horsehair, changing the landscape of wig production forever. These wigs were crafted in various styles, each suited for different occasions. Families would don different wigs for gatherings, fashionable events, or festivals, catering to their diverse needs. As with all aspects of Egyptian life, the wealthiest individuals could afford the finest wigs, often braided with exquisite jewelry and adorned with precious gems. Such wigs were a testament to their opulence, permeated with alluring perfumes. On the other hand, the lower classes resorted to wigs woven from papyrus plants or opted for shaved heads, simply covering them with headwear. If lice found their way into a wig, it could be discarded effortlessly, ridding themselves of the unwelcome guests. Additionally, these wigs helped keep their heads cool in the scorching Egyptian heat. Despite all their efforts, however, it appears that the Egyptians never completely eradicated lice. Archaeologists have even unearthed mummies infested with these persistent parasites. Lice were not the only bloodthirsty parasites that plagued the ancient Egyptians, particularly in the fertile and damp lands near the Nile's shores. Mosquitoes, buzzing incessantly in their ears, prompted the Egyptians to take towering measures to avoid their bites. Literally, the affluent Egyptians constructed massive towers around their bedrooms, preventing mosquitoes from flying high enough against the wind to breach the barriers. Yet, those less fortunate in wealth had to resort to a different tactic. They wrapped themselves in nets, resembling mummies, as a form of nighttime protection. Nearly every common household in Egypt possessed a fishing net, doubling as sleepwear to keep mosquitoes at bay. While mosquitoes could still attempt to bite through the linen and cloth, they typically left the nets alone. In the realm of ancient Egypt, where even revered scarabs coexisted with bothersome lice and buzzing mosquitoes, the quest for hygiene and comfort was a constant battle. Through their ingenuity and resourcefulness, the Egyptians devised creative solutions, from perfumed wigs to towering bedroom structures and protective nets. Yet, the persistence of these pesky creatures serves as a reminder that some challenges are timeless, transcending centuries and civilizations. Circumcision. In the ancient world, circumcision held a different significance for the Egyptians compared to its predominantly religious connotation in the modern era. Rather than being rooted in religious beliefs, Circumcision in ancient Egypt was primarily driven by practical considerations. Let us uncover the intriguing reasons behind this practice. Living in an arid climate where sand permeated every corner, the Egyptians embraced a minimalist approach to clothing, favoring light and minimal attire. While this choice provided comfort, it also had its downsides. Sand, as famously quoted in a more contemporary context, was universally disliked as it was coarse, rough, irritating, and found its way into every nook and cranny. Yes, even there. The intrusion of sand into the foreskin caused discomfort and raised concerns about hygiene and sanitary issues. Consequently, circumcision gained prominence in ancient Egypt as a means to address this challenge. Initially, it was viewed as a logical solution to mitigate the irritation caused by sand particles. However, as time progressed, the belief in the necessity of circumcision grew, extending beyond practicality and venturing into the realm of cleanliness and purity. It gradually transformed into a religious practice and ritual, with uncircumcised men being prohibited from visiting holy places in ancient Egypt. But circumcision was not exclusive to men in their pursuit of cleanliness and sexual health. Women, too, undertook measures to care for their intimate areas. Regularly shaving or removing pubic hair through various means became a common grooming practice for ancient Egyptian women. They embraced their sexuality and considered maintaining a hair-free genital area as essential preparation for intimacy. Additionally, they believed that this practice would keep fleas and lice at bay, ensuring a more pleasant and hygienic experience. In the vibrant tapestry of ancient Egypt, circumcision emerged as a practical response to the challenges posed by an arid climate and omnipresent sand. While initially driven by a desire for comfort and cleanliness, it gradually acquired religious significance. Meanwhile, women embraced their sexuality and engaged in grooming practices, including pubic hair removal, to enhance their intimate experiences and maintain personal hygiene. Ancient Egypt invented tic-tacs. In many surprising ways, the ancient Egyptians exhibited habits that parallel our modern society's approach to personal hygiene. Just like us, they understood the importance of maintaining oral cleanliness before stepping out of the house or preparing for bed. Their dental care practices were quite advanced for their time, and evidence of their toothbrushes dates back to the pre-dynastic period, placing them alongside the Chinese and Indians as early users of such tools. While the original ancient Egyptian toothpaste formula remains lost to the annals of time, historians have uncovered details about the ingredients used in later ages. Mint, rock salt, pepper, and dried iris flowers were combined and ground into a fine powder, which they would then apply to their teeth. The moisture in their mouth, specifically saliva, would transform the powder into a paste. As for their toothbrushes, they initially employed sticks with frayed ends, resembling brush-like fans. However, over time, they developed a more sophisticated design, a notched stick with thin strips of a cut plant tightly bound into the notch, acting as bristles. The plant most likely utilized for this early toothbrush innovation was the papyrus plant, which grew abundantly along the Nile. Yet, the ancient Egyptians' pursuit of hygiene extended beyond dental care. With an unwavering desire to look and smell pleasant throughout the day, they employed an array of breath mints. These mints boasted a wider range of flavors than modern-day tic-tacs could offer. Frankincense, cinnamon, melon, pine seeds, and other natural flavors were utilized to create these ancient breath fresheners. They often mixed these flavors together, but they were also used separately. Grounded cashews and honey served as binding ingredients and sweeteners. The mixture would be heated over a fire and then allowed to cool slightly, forming small candies. These delightful breath mints were produced both domestically and commercially, with archaeologists unearthing jars and bowls presumed to have contained these marvelous creations. Although these candies lacked sugar, the omnipresence of sand in ancient Egypt took its toll on their teeth, wearing them down over time. To counter this effect, the resourceful Egyptians developed dental practices such as fillings and splints to stabilize loose teeth. Archaeologists have even discovered mummies with dental bridgework, where teeth other than their own were used. However, determining whether these dental procedures were performed during the individual's lifetime or post-mortem remains a challenge for historians. Shepherds of the bum. The history of the flush toilet is intertwined with intriguing tales and discoveries. While Sir John Harrington is often credited with inventing the flush toilet in 1596, the legend suggests that Queen Elizabeth I, for whom he designed it, was so frightened by the sound of the flushing mechanism that she refused to use it. However, the patent for the flushing toilet was actually granted to Alexander Cummings in 1775. Despite this early innovation, it would take another 50 years for indoor plumbing to become commonplace in modern times. Interestingly, even in ancient times, the wealthy in ancient Egypt had access to indoor bathrooms and washrooms. However, it's important to note that these lavish facilities lacked plumbing or sewage systems. Many of the toilets owned by the affluent Egyptians featured seats crafted from limestone. These stone seats were placed atop boxes filled with sand, a rather unfortunate task for someone designated with the responsibility of emptying them. An occupation that certainly did not come with modern-day labour rights. Unfortunately, the situation was far less pleasant for the poor in ancient Egypt. They resorted to the simple method of digging a hole outdoors to relieve themselves, akin to the experience of camping. Adding to the unsanitary conditions, a significant number of people used the Nile as their personal toilet. With the absence of a sewage system, waste and other refuse often found their way into pits, open fields, or canals, polluting the river and the fields where food was grown. Despite the Egyptians' attempts at maintaining cleanliness, diseases resulting from unsanitary conditions, vermin, parasites, and insects claimed numerous lives each year, an unfortunate reality that echoes the plagues of Egypt described in the Holy Bible. Nevertheless, personal hygiene held considerable importance to the ancient Egyptians. On average, they took daily baths to cleanse themselves. Wealthy individuals enjoyed the luxury of indoor bathrooms, standing on stone slabs while servants poured water on them. Often sourced from the River Nile, the very river where waste was being discarded. Some upper-class homes even had foot baths made from wood, stone, or ceramic, used to clean their feet, considering that footwear was not commonly worn by many. For cleaning their bodies, the Egyptians employed natron, a natural substance that functioned as soap. After bathing, they would apply moisturizing creams to soften their skin and protect themselves from the harsh sun. As for the lower classes, who comprised the majority of Egyptian society, they resorted to bathing in the Nile River itself. However, hygiene wasn't limited to external cleanliness alone. Ancient Egyptians regarded their bodies as temples and saw falling ill as an indication of displeasing the gods. Consequently, priests and healers encouraged the use of purgatives and laxatives to cleanse the body from potential diseases. Even in the presence of diarrhea, Egyptians would consume laxatives like castor oil thrice a month, a rather discomforting thought. Additionally, enemas were employed to cleanse the internal organs, and specialized practitioners, known as shepherds of the anus, were sought for their expertise in examining the rectal region. Man, they were quite deep into it. No pun intended. If you are enjoying the content so far, then consider liking the video and subscribing. Beauty is power. In the fascinating world of ancient Egypt, gender roles and social status held a different dynamic compared to civilizations like Greece and Rome. Men and women enjoyed relatively equal social standing, actively participating in various fields of work. Additionally, both genders embraced the use of makeup and perfumes without hesitation. But before delving into the realm of manicures, let's first explore the realm of cosmetics. Cosmetics in ancient Egypt served not only as tools for enhancing beauty, but also for practical health purposes. In a sun-drenched and hot environment like Egypt, the inhabitants utilized sunscreen and moisturizers made from animal byproducts to protect their skin. They also harnessed the power of plant-based products like linseed or castor oil, incorporating honey to reduce the visibility of scars and maintain a youthful appearance. After treating their skin with oils and applying facial masks crafted from honey or aloe, people adorned themselves with eyeshadow, mascara, and eyeliner. Eyeliner held a prominent place in their beauty rituals, serving not only as a fashion statement, but also as a means of shielding their eyes from the sun's glare and warding off flies. While the affluent could easily acquire these cosmetic products from the market, commoners took matters into their own hands, grinding ingredients at home and crafting their own cosmetics. The process extended beyond cosmetics, for the Egyptians manufactured their own perfumes and deodorants as well, boasting an impressive range of fragrances. Fragrance played a significant role in ancient Egyptian society, as smelling pleasant was highly valued. Using oil as a base, they skillfully blended fragrant spices and herbs such as cardamom, mint, and juniper to create perfumes. They also appreciated fragrances from beyond their native land, including the likes of moringa nuts, almonds, and horseradish. Among all the perfumes, a prized and costly fragrance named kaife held a special place, symbolizing wealth and status. While perfumes were considered a luxury item, the lower classes resorted to deodorants and homemade fragrances that were more affordable. These deodorants consisted of ground herbs, roots, and flowers combined with oil, resulting in a cream that could be applied to the armpits. Some women even went as far as adding scented wax to their hair, which would release the fragrances as the heat melted the wax, creating an aromatic experience akin to an ancient aromatherapy diffuser. However, caution was necessary to avoid any unintended mishaps with flames and hair. Maintaining the beauty of their hands extended to the care of their fingernails. The wealthy Egyptians employed skilled professionals to clean and beautify their nails, hiring manicurists who held a distinct place in society. These individuals were esteemed enough to be granted proper job labels on their tombs, ensuring their recognition even in the afterlife. Dinner with a hint of feces. While ancient Egypt boasted a delectable culinary repertoire, the preparation of food in those times took on an entirely different nature. It's important to note that their recipes themselves were not creepy or peculiar. In fact, Egyptian cuisine was renowned for offering some of the finest dishes of its era. However, the manner in which food was prepared paints a rather unsettling picture. As we mentioned earlier, the Nile River served as a dual-purpose entity for the ancient Egyptians. It functioned not only as a bathroom and toilet for the majority of the population, but also as a source of water for various activities, including cooking. To compound matters, the riverbanks, where individuals relieved themselves, also served as the spot for washing clothes. Thus, the same water used to cleanse garments would be collected for culinary purposes. Before you recoil in disgust, allow me to elaborate further. In lower-class households, food preparation took place either on the floor of open-air rooms devoid of utensils or, if the dwelling was too small, on the roof. These areas were unfortunately infested with vermin, with roaches scurrying about, their imposing size comparable to one's thumb. Furry rats, unapologetically leaving their waste behind, freely roamed the very surface where bread was kneaded and meat was minced. And if the cooking took place on the roof, a touch of bird droppings could be added to the mix for an extra flavorful experience. The unhygienic conditions under which food was prepared in these circumstances were undeniably a recipe for disaster. Contaminated water from the Nile, combined with the dirt and filth of the floor, introduced a host of potential health hazards. It's difficult to fathom the challenges that arose when trying to create nourishing meals in such unsanitary environments. While the thought of vermin, excrement, and unclean water infiltrating the cooking process may churn one's stomach, it is crucial to remember that this was a reflection of the living conditions and limitations faced by the lower classes of ancient Egypt. Despite these unsavory aspects, Egyptian cuisine managed to shine through, showcasing the creativity and culinary prowess of the time. The ability to transform simple ingredients into delectable dishes remains a testament to the resourcefulness and resilience of the ancient Egyptians. Thanks for watching the video, and if you found it informative, please like and subscribe to Time Capsule for similar content. We look forward to sharing more knowledge with you in the future. Until then, take care.